The city is gone. Constantinople, the jewel of Byzantium, has fallen. Smoke curls from shattered rooftops, the air thick with ash and fear. Marble floors, once polished to a golden shine, are darkened by blood. Outside, the cries of the conquered echo endlessly, and in the heart of this destruction stands a girl, only 15. Her hands smudged with kitchen soot, her hair roughly cut, dressed in rough wool that can't hide her status. She is the last daughter of an empire that ruled for more than 1,000 years. She is Princess Theodora. Across from her sits the young man who tore her world apart. Sultan Mehmed II, only 21, dark eyes burning with ambition and calculation. Commanders line up behind him, silent, waiting for what is expected. History says this girl should be claimed, enslaved, or worse. Yet what happens next will defy every rule of conquest, revealing a moment of mercy so profound it was buried for centuries. In those hours, the fate of a dynasty, the legacy of 1,000 years, and the lessons of power, survival, and humanity were all decided. This is the story of the fall, the choice, and the girl who survived the impossible. Across the hills outside Constantinople, Sultan Mehmed II paces by candlelight. Maps and charts spread before him. Twice crowned, twice challenged, he is only 21 years old. Yet his mind burns hotter than any cannonball battering the city walls. European courts dismiss him as the boy sultan, and even some of his janissaries doubt his strength. But he carries the weight of ambition, of destiny, in his sharp eyes and restless movements. He has studied Alexander the Great, memorized Arian's campaigns, learned 6 languages, and spent countless sleepless nights imagining not just conquest, but transformation. He does not want merely to topple walls. He wants to claim the title of Caesar, the legitimate heir to the Roman Empire. Constantinople is more than a city, it is legitimacy itself. To hold it is to hold history in his hands. Every cannon, every troop, every strategy is calculated not only to destroy, but to ensure his vision of power survives long after the dust settles. Yet even with the city in sight, Mehmed thinks beyond destruction. He considers the people who remain inside, the families of emperors, scholars, priests, children, even teenage princesses. They are not simply prizes or trophies. They are symbols, keys to continuity, proof that the new empire he builds is not mere plunder, but a state with legitimacy, culture, and future. At night, he walks through his camp, stopping at the fires of his soldiers, speaking in Turkish, Arabic, and Persian. Promises of glory, paradise, and wealth float through the smoke. Yet his mind wanders to the palace, to the throne room where the last imperial family still lives. To Mehmed, conquest is only half the story. Transformation is the other, and both will determine not just the fate of Constantinople, but the course of history itself. Inside the palace, the air is thick with tension and the smell of fear. Princess Theodora sits perfectly still as her mother's trembling hands cut her hair, rough chunks falling onto the marble floor. Her mother, lost to history, but known in chronicles as Lady Eupisa, whispers hurriedly as she coats Theodora's hands with kitchen soot and dresses her in coarse wool that scratches and chafes. "Let them believe you are nothing," she murmurs. "Let them see a servant, not a princess. Every cut of hair, every smear of soot, every scratch of the coarse fabric is a desperate attempt to hide the last living link to a dynasty that has ruled for over 1,000 years. The city outside is deafening. Cannon fire shakes the walls, and the roar of thousands of soldiers and terrified citizens fills the streets. Constantinople teeters on the edge of annihilation, and yet within the palace, one mother fights for her daughter's survival in the only way she knows, by pretending that her daughter is unimportant, invisible, a shadow. That evening, a messenger from Mehmed arrives under a white flag. He brings an offer: surrender the city, and all will leave unharmed. Constantine XI receives him in full armor, his face calm, betraying neither hope nor fear. He refuses. Surrender, he says, is beyond his authority, beyond what anyone in the city can decide. They will fight. They will die on their own terms. The messenger returns, and the young sultan shows no reaction. Orders for the final assault are given. That night, the citizens of Constantinople gather inside Hagia Sophia. Orthodox and Catholic, old hatreds forgotten in the face of death. Thousands pray together. Theodora kneels among them, disguised as a servant, unrecognizable even to those who once walked the same halls. She memorizes every detail: the mosaics, the scent of incense, her mother's hand clutching hers, knowing these are the final fragments of a world about to vanish. Outside, the rhythm of Ottoman drums begins slow, then grows, pounding against the walls, shaking the ground and the hearts of those inside. The last night of Byzantium has begun. At 1 a.m., May 29th, the assault begins. Waves of Ottoman soldiers crash against the walls like a human tide. The first are irregular troops, expendable and reckless, dying by the hundreds under arrows, boiling oil, and rocks. Their screams echo through the empty streets and over the walls, warning of what is to come. They are followed by Anatolian regulars, disciplined, armored, moving methodically, pressing the exhausted defenders back step by step. By dawn, the Janissaries, the Sultan's elite guard, advance like living steel, trained since childhood for this very moment. Where they push, walls crack. Where they advance, morale shatters. The defenders, worn thin by 57 days of siege, see a small gate normally locked left open. Ulu Baitullah Hassan and 30 men slip through. When they raise the Ottoman banner inside the city, everything changes. Defenders panic. Families scatter. Men abandon posts. Streets turn into rivers of fleeing soldiers and terrified civilians. The Emperor, Constantine XI, tears off his regalia and charges into the fray, shouting that the city has fallen and he remains alive. But his fate vanishes into the chaos. By 8 a.m., 6 breach points are overwhelmed. Constantinople, the crown jewel of Byzantium, falls in a single morning after over a millennium of glory. The aftermath is brutal. Soldiers hunt through every street, every house. Men, women, and children are slaughtered, enslaved, or captured. Between 30 and 50,000 are taken that day alone. The Hagia Sophia becomes a sanctuary for thousands, yet even here, panic reigns. Soldiers drag priests from prayer, select captives, and hunt for the imperial family. Theodora hides behind amphorae of olive oil, heart hammering, soot still on her hands. Every footstep, every scream, every shout threatens to betray her. Hours pass. The frenzy turns systematic. Eventually, her presence is discovered, her hands to soft, her voice to refined, her education to evident. By midday, Mehmed rides a white Arabian stallion through the Adrianople gate, his presence calm yet commanding. Unlike a mere conqueror, he does not seek destruction. Instead, he enters Hagia Sophia, a 1,000-year-old cathedral now trembling under Ottoman control. He scoops a handful of dirt, pouring it over his turban in a gesture of humility, then declares the cathedral a mosque. But even amidst triumph, he makes a decision that shocks his commanders. The pillaging, expected to last 3 days, will stop after only one. Civilians hiding in homes are spared. Churches are left intact. Former residents may return. Mehmed's mind is not on loot or glory alone. He envisions an empire where culture, religion, and knowledge survive alongside conquest. Meanwhile, Theodora is discovered. Still disguised in soot-smeared wool, she is brought trembling before Mehmed in the throne room. The marble floor beneath her is darkened with blood, mosaics shattered, the scent of smoke thick in the air. Protocol demands she prostrate herself. She freezes, heart hammering. Mehmed studies her carefully, speaking in fluent Greek. He acknowledges her lineage, asking where her father is. Dead, she cannot speak, but her silence carries the truth. All around, commanders expect her to be claimed as a concubine, the fate of any noble captive. Yet Mehmed hesitates, calculating more than anyone sees. His mind weighs strategy, legitimacy, and the history of empires, not just conquest. The throne room holds its breath. Then, in a moment that shocks everyone, Mehmed makes a decision that no one could have predicted. Princess Theodora is not taken as a concubine. She is not enslaved. Instead, she is granted freedom under Ottoman protection. She is given a stipend, a residence in the city, and permission to practice Christianity openly. The commanders, used to the brutal rules of conquest, exchange confused glances. Western chroniclers, eager to portray Ottoman cruelty, would have ignored such mercy. Ottoman historians, focused on military triumph, would have downplayed it. Yet here, in a blood-soaked throne room, the young sultan shows a depth of calculation that combines ambition with strategy. This act is not mere generosity. Mehmed is thinking centuries ahead. He is claiming the legacy of Rome, not just through walls and weapons, but through legitimacy, continuity, and order. By protecting Theodora and other Christians, he positions himself as the rightful ruler of all subjects, not merely a conqueror who plunders and flees. Every choice signals to the world, this is an empire built to last, a ruler who transforms, not destroys. Theodora, barely 15, now stands as a symbol of this new order, a living link between the fallen Byzantines and the new Ottoman reality. Survival, she realizes, is not chance, it is strategy. Mehmed's vision extends beyond Theodora. He appoints a Byzantine scholar, Gennadius Scholario, as the new Orthodox Patriarch, granting him authority over all Christians in the empire. Greek scholars, artists, and administrators are preserved and integrated into Ottoman service. Constantinople is transformed, not erased. Mosques rise alongside churches, while libraries and schools are restored and expanded. Mehmed is not merely a conqueror, he is a builder of continuity, a ruler demonstrating that survival and cooperation are as valuable as conquest. Theodora lives under Ottoman protection for 3 years, part of a small Byzantine community carefully maintained by the Sultan. She witnesses the city's transformation, the coexistence of faiths, the blending of traditions, the rise of a cosmopolitan capital under a single ruler. In 1456, she is allowed to leave for the Morea Peloponnese, a Byzantine enclave under Ottoman suzerainty. There, she eventually marries a minor noble and lives the rest of her life in freedom. Her survival is extraordinary. It is not luck, nor solely her mother's ingenuity, but also Mehmed's strategic mercy. By protecting her, he asserts legitimacy, secures continuity, and demonstrates magnanimity in a way that strengthens his empire. Theodora's story becomes an emblem of calculated humanity, a rare intersection of power, mercy, and foresight in a world otherwise ruled by violence. History prefers simplicity. Heroes and villains, conquerors and victims, clear lines of right and wrong. But Theodora's story shatters that narrative. A 15-year-old princess, the last daughter of an empire, survives slaughter and chaos not through luck alone, but through courage, cunning, and the calculated mercy of a young sultan. Mehmed II, who toppled Constantinople, understood that empires are not built solely by destruction. They are built by absorbing the past, preserving knowledge, and transforming it to serve a new vision. Thousands perished, yet thousands survived. Scholars, priests, women, children, many owed their lives to the Sultan's foresight. Constantinople did not end. It evolved. The city became the seat of a new empire, a multicultural capital where Greek scholars helped shape the Ottoman administration, and knowledge flowed into Europe, fueling the Renaissance and global exploration. One city's fall altered the trajectory of the world. Theodora, once hidden behind jars of olive oil, became a witness to history in motion. She survived the impossible, living in freedom, a testament to adaptability, strategy, and human resilience. Mehmed's actions reveal that survival often depends not on compassion, but on legitimacy, vision, and the needs of the powerful. In the end, the darkest truths of history are not always the violence we expect, but the unexpected mercy that reshapes empires, saves lives, and leaves a legacy far beyond the battlefield. Theodora survived. Constantinople endured, transformed, and the world itself changed forever.